On this podcast, you'll find interviews with high-performing, successful individuals in life sciences. On a weekly basis, we cover their proven methods, principles, strategies, and mindsets to implement new technologies that scale to meet the needs of people in our world.
Today on the Life Science Success Podcast, I welcome Rajasankar Viswanathan. Welcome, Rajasankar.
Hi, Don. How are you?
Very well. Yeah, thanks so much. So you're the CEO of NaturalText. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about what NaturalText is and what it does?
NaturalText is a deep tech AI company where we work on language understanding issues. Something like if you today, all the language understanding is based on trying to convert text into kind of numbers and trying to do the mathematics. Whereas in we trying to make the computers to understand language as good as humans. We use a different kind of technology and trying to make it nice, and it's also trying to understand language as it is instead of trying to force what we think as a language is. So let the computers see the patterns and understand as it is. That is the abstract sense of what we do. And actually, we do is that we help companies to in information retrieval, search, understand, classify, categorize, and all those areas. We help companies to make it work in a most efficient way, cost efficient and time efficient way.
Okay, and how did you get into this? I mean, can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself? I mean, what is it that led you to this area of the work?
I have 20 years of experience in software creation from all the ways, from testing, development, UI, in database, pretty much anything you can say to, I will do it. And in my previous company, I was trying to make product testing easier for the product managers and business managers, where we are trying to do something like BDD, behavioral driven testing. And in that, one of the things, the major issue was to make the people to understand test cases. So there is a disconnect between who will do the test cases and the automation and so on. So where I thought that I could do a natural language kind of a framework where you can type these things in English and you can generate a code in Java or Python, and then it will run. So the business manager also can type their code, type their what they want to test, and it will be done. So that is my first jump into natural language as a coding, as a software creation. Before that itself, I am from India, and I'm from Tamil Nadu in South India, and my mother tongue is Tamil, and I'm familiar with Sanskrit, another ancient language. And these are the two languages which has a codified grammar. And when I try to read English as a second language from my college days, I was having difficulties in understanding it, trying to converse. If you talk to me myself in just 10 years or 20 years ago, you will be left disappointed because I don't know the difference between what is and was. And then I was trying to understand how the language evolved, what is the problem, and so on and so forth. And this is on the sideways side. I'm doing this NLP jumping, reading, and all the things going on. And then I thought that I should jump into this thing and make something which can also work for everybody. I also read a lot of books, trying to have the information gathered. And the Solar is the only thing which is you can do it for private documents now, and which is not good. I also trying to find out. Okay, I have this thought now. Can I find a similar thoughts in any of the books or any of the articles I read or I saved or I even myself written? So that all combined into someday, and then I resigned my job and jumped into this creating natural text. So a long story short, but there is a lot of things going on at the time.
It certainly seems like right now is the right time for artificial intelligence. It just seems like there's a lot going on in this area, and that there are a lot of companies, in the space. Do you find a lot of competition for natural text, or are you, new and unique?
Yeah, I know both yes and no. A lot of competition in the sense that people, some of the people I go and talk to them, they outrightly reject it, saying that this cannot exist, even you cannot build it. And then some of the people are trying to see how it is going on and accept it because that solves their problem. The both the levels. The second thing is that the uniqueness is because we are trying to say to the people, like, you are driving a horse cart or something, then you get a diesel engine or a steam engine. So that kind of a cultural shift we are trying to see because the whole AI, as you said, there is a lot of competition going on. There is a lot of goofy things also going on. A lot of companies, a lot of startups puts AI, but under the hood there is no AI. It is just a if else. So as of now, we are in unique and we face some of the unique challenges. And we have a stiff competition. That is, people expect we would behave like other competitors have some of the things other competitors do exactly, even if it is that costs them a lot of money and human labor and so on. So yes, we face some of the unique challenges being a small startup. I'm trying to say that we do things in a very different way.
And more specifically, how does natural text help companies and also companies in life sciences?
First thing is that what our abstract sense is that we help companies to find unknown information which is not available to them. For example, today AI trying to find a repeated information. You have a photo, and then you can train the AI. Then it will find your face wherever you're in a group or you're standing in a beach or having a beer or something. But what companies in life sciences actually need, they need to find unknown information. Say, what is the relationship between this gene? Is there somebody did some work on this gene, or this gene has a different name, and is that name is used somewhere, so on and so forth. And you can also see a drug can be sold in several names, and you need to work out all those names too. So how we help life sciences companies to find that information by doing analysis either in their mails or in their published data, or combining these two. They have their own internal data, notes, clinical notes, and everything. There are some of the unique things we also get. We are right now working with a company in US. They are the image sharing company, and they want to classify photos not by computer vision, but by the notes that doctors or the clinical professionals notes attached to that image. So they want to use those things and to classify. And sometimes some of the things also, if you take chemical compounds, the drug molecule compounds, there are 30 billion of them, and sorry, 300 billion of them. And what happens is that there is a lot of information attached to that. And if you are trying to find out a similar drugs or similar molecules, you have to do only with the structural information. You cannot do all the text data because it is too much work, and current AI cannot do. And we are there to jump in and doing it. So there is another case where companies getting a lot of emails uh, regarding their drugs, complaints, and everything. But they cannot go and use the current AI because current AI cannot solve the problem, and we are going there and jumping in and classifying. And almost the most of the things like removing the spam, removing the unwanted things, and then giving them, okay, here are some 200 emails you can go through and respond or file to the no, complaints authorities. So these are all these some kind of things we work with our life sciences companies to help them to reduce what they are doing, manual work, or improve their efficiency and so on.
And do you think, in terms of the use of tools like natural text, do you think it would help in terms of improving the drug discovery life cycle? It sounds to me like your tool, like your software, um, would be able to then, potentially help companies with these, 300 million, different molecules, develop drugs faster potentially.
Yeah, but that comes with a certain caveats. When we talk about life sciences companies, drug discoveries, there are several stages in that. Each stage, people, write information or do that some kind of a wet lab testing. Then again, go to the complaint. So our work is to do the whole thing, whole life sciences, life cycle, rather than trying to concentrate on, say, like some kind of niche areas, like we do the drug discovery or we do this and that. What we offer to them is that, okay, we are the data professionals. We are here to help you on the text data and every stage of what you are doing. So if you already have a drug and you go to the market and somebody is complaining about that in Twitter or Facebook or in emails, you have a drug and it is going on a clinical trials, we are trying to figure it out. Okay, give us that all the clinical trials data, and we will give you what is the visibility on it. So these are the things that we are not. I'm not a life sciences professional. I'm not a professional in drug discovery. What we are offering is that people to go ahead and do this thing in the data management, especially in the text data management. And we do that on the every stage of it, not only going there, okay, we talked about this part on a silo, but not on other silos or not on other chains. And if you see the life sciences, there's a pharmaceutical drug discovery is a whole unified process. There we have, I mean, maybe millions of people work together, something to come out. Even for a small drug, there will be thousands of people working together. And one time when we are doing this initially, people explained to me that when the drug is started for taking and discovery, and the drug all the way goes to the market, there will be a decade or two, and the persons who made those decisions to enter into the drug or started the operations or so on will not be even in the company or any company. They will be retired from the service itself. So if you understand that much amount of a time and that much amount of cost and things takes it, so it will be beneficial for everybody to reduce those timings, going to that and trying to reduce the errors. So that is where natural text come in.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like, because any size pharma company has a lot of data, right? I mean, they're working on a lot of things. They get a lot of information back, and the more of that is text and searchable by the AI, it sounds to me like that's where the power, really comes in and could play a much stronger role. Is that correct?
Exactly. Right now, we are concentrating on small and medium companies. Those are all consultants who play a vital part in advising those companies. And in an abstract sense, is that what we are actually doing is like trying to bring the whole of the mathematics into biology. And if you know some of the discussions going on with the whether the biology the field itself has a mathematics, and now this thing as a bio informatics field is going on. There is interesting things like there is a talk about unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics in natural sciences, written by the great physicist Eugene Wigner. And there is a person, he's Israel Gelfand. I admire him a lot. He said it that it works only in physics, not in biology or anywhere. Mind that Israel Gelfand is a renowned mathematician, a great guy. His works on integral geometry is the reason why we can take MRI scans. Any kind of a scan you go and take, you have to thank Israel Gelfand. His work made that possible. But these are all 1960s and 70s. These talks going on. And if you see it today, people still, can differ it. If you see today DNA sequence analysis, protein folding. There is a lot of talk is going on, but maths as a whole is not there in the biology, in my view. So what we are doing is that, okay, maths can help you. You can do your part. Here is the maths. Our natural text can find structure in the language, so you can use it to improve yourself. We can also do that for DNA sequences if you like. We can also combine different kind of data formats, like you have a nucleide, DNA, normal text English language, or in any other language. Even in Twitter, there are different ways to put it, and then we can combine all and give it to you the results, so that you don't have to worry about your professionals in your area can concentrate on your own thing. So that is the major part we are doing. But right now we are concentrating on small and medium enterprises, CROs, consultants, so that there is a lot of ecosystem is there, and that is where the market is. That is where a lot of work is done. It would be nice to say, okay, I go and work with the Fortune 500 companies or the topmost companies. But if you see pharmaceutical drugs, there are some 10, 50, 100 people working companies. They do a great. They invent a lot. They bring a lot of molecules out from there. They also work in some of the rare diseases and so on. So ours is also something like kind of a social commitment to. So what we are doing it for, larger of the societies apart from money. So that is also there. We are not, chasing the fandom or anything like that to make a thing that will come later maybe, but that will be a side products. What we are concentrating on trying to help people to improve themselves. So we also get small benefit from that, and they will also do their work in a more efficient and a cost-effective way.
And so I'm just going to take one little aside here. So today I'm actually a part of a debate discussion, and one of the questions for that debate is essentially, will AI replace humans? And it seems to be a real fear that some people have. I mean, I definitely, I see all the benefits of having data linked together and having things sent to me, and not having to research things that I do want to essentially know more about. Um, I see all the benefits in that, but do you? I guess the first question is, do you think what AI is doing will eventually replace what humans are doing?
This is the thing is like, I know this will be my, what do you say, my overarching opinion. People are talking about AI is going to get singularity, or AI is going to get general intelligence, or AI is going to get all these things. Frankly, don't actually understand what is AI, or how those algorithms work, or how the maths work. If you take the deep learning today, if you take it, this is simple mathematics done in a trillion times, or several trillion times, or a septillion times. This is a simple calculations that is keep going on, and then they figure it out. And then you see the data is the oil. You have the better data. There are research that shows that if you have enough data, which means that if you have enough examples, then a simple algorithm can think. So this is something like people actually don't understand what is the AI is actually doing, what is the actual maths behind it, or what is the combinatorics, or the these kind of, Estelle Delfin is the expert in combinatorics, and he said is that only one kind of a mathematics will finally exist, that will be a combinatorics. So I mean, I admire that guy a lot. So he actually answered a lot of these things in his own lifetime, in 60s itself, because that is where the things come in. And the second thing, if you are answering it, asking the question that would AI may eventually, maybe in 1,000 years, maybe in 2,000 years, perhaps not, because what we understand as an intelligence, these are all something kind of a box terms. We don't have the equation or some kind of a concrete definition for what is intelligence, right? And then what is a skill, or what is something like if you ride a bike, or if you ride your bicycle, there is no way you can write an equation to write that. There is a lot of things going on. The same with swimming, or same with, say, playing any game, tennis or football or anything. So the idea of trying to do that, AI will somehow, any time of the day will replace it is a problem. The second thing is the choice. So I'm a fan of Matrix, and the trailer is out on the last month, and that is where the Oracle says the problem is choice. So we have a choice that we are doing it via the what do you call the our impulses, biological needs. Okay, if you see, our mind doesn't accept things. You need a different food on each day, different varieties. You have different fashion and so on. What is AI is going to do? What is going to think? Is it going to think that something like in the Matrix is saying that, okay, you humans are virus, like this agent says, you humans are the virus, and okay, they are going to put us in jail? Perhaps not. It's for me. If I look back into that, even if we have such a kind of AI that comes into need, what would be the energy requirement? How long it will take? Would it take to build what humans? The Earth-size computer, or a sun-size computer, or a solar system-size computer? We don't know. Pretty much that we don't know it's going to happen, or whether like a Skynet, things will jump up. Unfortunately, that the whole thing is like people actually don't know what is in the hood, and I don't demean those people. It is something like like the things we perceive, like anthropomorphism or something. We try to see the patterns, and we fear something, the unknown. I think that is the thing, but pretty much the answer will be no, may not be ever.
Yeah, it's interesting because in this case, the debate is all about using AI in the healthcare space, right? So with physicians, and to your point, right? I don't understand how AI could understand or give empathy. So that's one. I think empathy is a challenge currently, with AI. And the second one for me is to your later point, which is that human beings in general are nonlinear thinkers. Yes, we may use flowcharts or other things to try and sort of narrow our choices or whatever, but there are times whenever we have to be able to take multiple inputs, use very limited data and make a decision. And that's where I think human beings come in. And what I would love to do is to take the very linear thought, or the very manual portion of, let's just say a physician's day. The average physician in the United States today spends in a week, spends about 9 hours of that week doing nothing but paperwork and administrative work. Well, that seems to me like that's not things that are used caring for patients. And so it's a great opportunity for AI. And I think on the life sciences side, to come back to natural text, I think there's a real opportunity for tools like yours to help people, with that very manual linear portion of what needs to be done in their job.
Exactly. I'm sorry. I'm getting a call. I'm sorry. What happens when you try to go into this solving the problems in hospitals or somewhere, as you said, with the 9 hours and the empathy part? Most of the things in the AI today is people like big shots in the tech, coming into the view that they are going to solve, put an end to the other human problems, like treating like everybody else is a disposable labor or disposable things. Like you can say you can maybe this is something to do with their own way of thinking or the success, but they come and say, okay, we don't, from tomorrow onwards, from 10 years now or 5 years now, we will not need any doctors. AI can do all this stuff. Pretty much that is, I call that arrogance. That arrogance causes all the people to suspect that there may be some kind of a conspiracy or some kind of other things going on, that fears that, okay, they are going to do what we don't have a say. If you see the progress of steam engines, thermodynamics, to your car and everything, how your car works. You can get to know. You may not design it, or you may not, tear it down and see all these things, but you have the idea how it is works, what will happen, when the wear and tear happens, when you want to replace your car, when you want to change your tires, and so on. That kind of thing is not there. So these people are coming up, giving you a black box and say, okay, go inside, and that's it. So that's the major thing with the, as you said, with the empathy. It is not that AI has to do with the empathy, it is the people behind it has to do with the empathy. And if you see some of the things going on with the ethical AI, some of the Google and other AI companies, get into this kind of equipment, that they're trying to fire people for raising things, and people are arguing that it is the data, we don't have to do anything with that. So all these things combined, that kind of arrogance that comes from their success maybe, or from their position of power maybe, I don't know. But all I see is that these people come and tell you that, okay, here is the thing, here is the box, magic box I invented, all you have to do, touch it, you will disappear. So that's being the problem with the AI trying to put in the healthcare and health sciences. And as you said, with the doctors doing a lot of paperwork, the first thing is that we don't know why they are doing a paperwork. Are they doing something like signing the sheets which require their own attention, or they are doing something else, without knowing that. Once you jump in and saying that, okay, here is the things, you have to use it, then you have a pushback, you have things. And I face this every client, every potential customer I get to meet, they will ask the question, how do I trust it? I have to go and put this to the statutory authorities. Can you show me how it is done? Would you tell me, can I replicate the results, and so on? Yes, I tell them we have separate methods to verify. So, but the whole point is that the whole point that, if you put the people have the dignity of the labor, and that is getting kind of bad treatment, or kind of like you are dispensable, you can be thrown out, and then people have suspicion that they are not doing it for tech, they are not doing it for science or innovation. They have different motives, and all boils down to that.
Yeah, I agree, and I look forward to continuing to see the contributions that AI can make. There are three questions that I like to ask every guest. What inspires you?
My inspiration is like the people who wrote codified grammar somewhere 1,500, 2,000 years ago in India, especially in Sanskrit. We have Ashtadhyayi. There are somewhere around 3,300 kind of grammar rules. That is still, when I every day look at it, I have the books and everything. It still, kind of amazes me, like how they did it at the time itself. They have rules. Each, they have the rules like, okay, if you have this alphabet, what should be the next alphabet? What will be the third alphabet? and I see some of the resemblance in there. And bear in mind, I'm not saying these people have this AI at the time itself. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that there might be some way different thinking, or they, as you said, the linear thinking. They might have this flash of an idea and wrote those things and expanded it. And it's really, really, amazes me and inspires me to do. Okay, we could do some of the things to counter hate or spread of the misinformation in what is going on right now. So that could be some part I can contribute to to what I can do.
Yeah, very interesting. What concerns you?
My concern is like people like, as I said in the previous things, people think of technology as some kind of a weapon, or talking about technology supremacy. Those things, some kind of a thinking like that is going to, first things going to stop innovation and contribution to science. So if you see that top AI companies, gather up all the talent, pay the top tier money so that there won't be any innovators outside. And the second thing is that people anyways going to look at with a suspicion, because if you are stifling innovation by other means, not a direct means, indirect means, people are going to see every innovator in the same way, whether I am a small guy trying to do a startup or a big guy sitting in a big company or something. So that's a really concern. Once the technology, once upon a time, in 60s, 70s, even in 80s, it was a real innovation. There were some hiccups where here and there. There is there are national boundaries were there. Of course, I'm not denying that, but today we really see that it may not be a good time. People there, even the underprivileged communities entering there, all those things really concerns me that we should, and I should do something, on ongoing things. And I will also talk, read, write, and also contribute. And also, like my company, when we grow, Natural Text should be an example. Like we don't do all these things at least.
And what excites you?
My excitement is that, especially with India, we are a poor country, but we are starting to open up, starting to grow. There is a lot of startups. There is a lot of innovation, technology adoption is going on, and with this kind of innovation ecosystem and with the things, and of course with the partnership with US, we have right now the lines are blurred. There is no differentiation between having a company in India or in US, because all the US companies have Indian offices, Indian companies have US offices. All these things excites me to that we should do something good, including climate change, what we are seeing in now, including trying to optimize the resource wastage. Something like there is a statistic that read that there is millions of tons of clothes were burned every year because it's going waste. Food is going waste. Also, like you can also connect the local suppliers with the local consumers so that you don't have to transport much. All these things AI can come to a part and solve those kind of optimization or those kind of resource wastage, which we humans may not calculate at the time. But still, we will make a decision into that. There will be a human in the loop, but we still have to get the heavy lifting by the machines to do that, and that will be a path for the humanity as a whole when we go to the next millennium, or within say 40, 50 years from now. That is where we could, instead of trying to talk, we should use the math science to solve the problems. That's with the amount of research going on. I guess is that this is exciting times coming next few years to showcase, to solve, at least make a little bit of progress there, even if we cannot solve it immediately.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited as well about what the future and the technology that we have will do, and also the technology that you can start to see now around the corner. I by far and not very close to a lot of the areas where innovation is happening that will hit us in the distant future. But I can see a lot of great things in the near future that are coming as well.
Exactly. We cannot predict the future because everything is changing. AI has also had its own several winters. We hope that it may not go into a winter at all. But next few years will be a very exciting years in terms of AI, in terms of science, and in terms of what we can do. I'm pretty much excited for what natural text can contribute in those areas.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rajasankar, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I greatly appreciate you being on the podcast. And yeah, thanks for spending time.
Thanks, Davis. Thanks for your time, and I appreciate that we have this conversation, and I can continue to look forward to working together. Maybe next year we can have the podcast at the same time and see what we done and what we achieved, and we can also talk a little bit longer.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Life Science Success. For complete details about this podcast, including show notes, how to get in touch with guests, and more episodes, please visit www.lifesciencesuccess.com. If there's someone you'd like for us to invite to the show as a guest, please let me know by sending me a message at the podcast website. Please click subscribe on your favorite podcast app, share the podcast, or tell a friend about it, and last but not least, rate the podcast. Thank you again.